Welcome to the League of Nerds comic book segment number 145. I'm John Cooney here to talk to you about comics being released the 29th of October 2014, beginning as usual with my first five, meaning these are the first 5 books I intend to read this week, and I'll give you a little more depth on them, starting with at number 1, Saga number 24. Hey, it's Brad and Sweet Boy. Brian K. Vaughan explained the development of Saga at New York Comic Con. Quote, the sort of world that Saga takes place in is a demented, imaginary land that just existed in my brain since I was a kid. I would just sort of take things I like from Star Wars and Saturday morning cartoons. It was a stupid good versus evil thing with horns and wings and demons and angels. It was terrible. In math class, instead of paying attention, I would build on this world. I guess a lot of kids do that, but I'm broken inside, so I didn't stop doing it ever. I never shared this with anyone because it'll get me committed. Close quote. At number 2, we've got All New X-Men number 33. Traveling to alternate universes seems to be a rite of passage for any young mutant calling themselves an X-Man, and it looks like it's the all-new X-Men squad's turn to pass the test. But will it ultimately be too much for the time-displaced youngsters? Guest starring Miles Morales, this is a showdown you won't want to miss. Series writer Brian Michael Bendis discussed the experience the team is having. Quote, they're going to discover things about the Ultimate Universe, about themselves, and they're going to come out of it and they're going to make some choices. Also, maybe not everybody comes home. We've shown that with Cyclops. Some people might say, I want to stay here. I get a do-over if I stay here. What I like about All New X-Men is we finally have a situation where you literally do not know what these characters are going to do because they've already done something you'd never think they would do. This is a big moment for Jean. When people see next issue, they'll all have an adventure, but Jean and Miles' adventure is quite something. Laura and Warren are going to discover truth about mutants over there. It's eye-opening. There's a lot to explore there. Close quote. At number 3, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy number 20, the final chapter of what really happened in the Cancerverse. Remember when Star-Lord and Nova were going to sacrifice their lives to take out Thanos? And remember how Drax was supposed to have died? Well, Nova seems to be the only one missing now. Time to get some answers here. Series writer Brian Michael Bendis spoke about this issue in particular at New York Comic Con. Quote, Ed McGuinness is doing an amazing job. It's quite wonderful to write for him. Close quote. He promised that this arc would feature, quote, the final fate of the Cancerverse. Hopefully some of you will post on the internet about this. Hopefully you'll get some closure from this. Close quote. At number 4, we've got Batman Eternal number 30. The last time Deacon Blackfire took control of Gotham City, Batman nearly died. How will the city fare now that he wields unspeakable power? Series co-writer Scott Snyder referred to Deacon Blackfire specifically when discussing Batman's 75th anniversary. Quote, we wanted this to be a celebration and exploration of Batman's incredible mythology and cast. A lot of fun comes from having characters that you wouldn't expect show up, from Deacon Blackfire all the way to the biggest and smallest rogues. These guys have more terrific surprises coming for everybody. Close quote. And at number 5, we've got Marvel 75th Anniversary Celebration number 1, a supersized celebration of 75 years of the world's greatest comics. What happened the day the Marvel Universe was born? James Robinson and Chris Samney have the answer. Legendary artist Bruce Timm adapts the very first Captain America story Stan Lee ever wrote from 1941. As Spider-Man battles the Kingpin, Peter Parker's pals and gals lament his absence in a story by Tom DeFalco and Stan Goldberg. Brian Michael Bendis and Michael Gaydos guide Netflix's Jessica Jones as she investigates a case with roots in the past of the Marvel Universe, and Wolverine's father, Len Wein, and Paul Gulacy recount an untold encounter between Logan and Sabretooth, and more. Executive editor Tom Brevoort shared his intention for this book. Quote, I knew that I wanted to do stories that would celebrate Marvel's long history. I knew I also wanted to utilize a number of our classic creators, but not in an old-timers day sort of fashion. And I knew that I wanted the overall package to touch on as much of the overall span of Marvel's publishing history as possible, not just the very recent nor the very old material. So it's a particular aesthetic balance I was trying to achieve. Close quote. Rounding out the top 10 at number 6, we've got Deathlok number 1, Enemy of My Enemy. After Michael Collins, there was Henry Hayes, a medic who traveled to war zones to heal the wounded. He has no idea that when he's in the field, he's activated by a mysterious group and becomes the ultimate weapon of assassination in war, Deathlok. From the writers of Black Widow and The Punisher comes a new take on the iconic cyborg character making waves on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. At number 7, we've got Nova number 22. It's Halloween and Nova goes to Westchester to join the students of the Jean Grey School for trick-or-treating. With Beast chaperoning, what sort of trouble can the kids get into? Lots. At number 8, we've got Elektra. Number 7, Elektra barely survived chasing her globetrotting quest to find the aging assassin Cape Crow, and now she's given herself a newer, deadlier assignment. Elektra's mission to kill the leaders of the Assassin's Guild takes her and her allies to the streets of New Orleans, where a vengeful Lady Bullseye waits in ambush. At number 9, we've got Death of Wolverine, the Logan Legacy, number 3 of 7, featuring Sabretooth. With Logan now gone forever, who will stop Sabretooth from finally annihilating everyone and everything in his path? Fighting Wolverine was his greatest thrill on the planet, the ultimate sport, but now that Logan is dead, Sabretooth's rage takes on an entirely new shape and mission, unencumbered and unrestrained. And at number 10, we've got Death of Wolverine, Deadpool, and Captain America number 1. Did you know Wolverine is dead? I bet some people would love to get their hands on his DNA to clone him. Logan's old pals Deadpool and Steve Rogers are going to make sure that doesn't happen. For the best of the rest, from DC Comics, we've got Harley Quinn Annual number 1. We have to warn you readers, this issue stinks. Seriously, like unpleasant odors are literally in the story. In this first ever Harley Quinn Annual, take a trip to Harley's home of Coney Island in a groundbreaking scenticular issue, featuring actual honest-to-gosh smells. This issue comes polybagged to contain the stench. And we've got Justice League United Annual number 1. The Infinitive Saga begins as the Legion of Superheroes arrive with the shocking news that the 31st century has been destroyed. Now it's up to the Justice League United to save the future. From Marvel Comics, we've got Access Carnage number 1 of 3, Avengers and X-Men Access tie-in. Carnage is back in New York City, and the city will never look at him the same way again. Something incredible has happened to the symbiote serial killer in Avengers and X-Men Access that will have Cletus and you reeling. Next, we have Access Revolutions number 1 of 4, Avengers and X-Men Access tie-in, companion series to Marvel's newest blockbuster event, Avengers and X-Men Access, featuring stories from the Avengers and X-Men's epic battle with the Red Skull. As the Red Skull broadcasts hate across the globe, will our heroes be able to quell the madness, or might they just be swept up in it? We've also got Inhuman number 7. Thought dead by most of the world since Infinity, King Black Bolt steps back into the spotlight. Black Bolt and Maximus have been busy over in New Avengers, but that's not the whole story of what's going on with the Boldigan brothers. And we've got Wolverine and the X-Men number 11. The X-Men mourn as one of their own is finally put to rest. As a reporter digs further in Wolverine's past, what will be uncovered as the X-Men retell their favorite personal adventures and Wolverine stories. Some of the industry's best and brightest lend a hand to say farewell in these 2 jam-packed issues: Robbie Rodriguez, Jason Latour, Jim Rugg, James Herron, and more. From Dark Horse Comics, we've got The Massive number 28. As a storm rages around the crew of the Capitol, they embrace the reappearance of the Massive and learn much more about the origin of the crash from Mary. But it's only when masses of Earth rise from the ocean floor that things really get interesting. From Image Comics, we've got Savage Dragon number 199. Countdown to issue 200 reaches its penultimate issue. Malcolm Dragon tackles the deadly demonoids. It's an all-out underworld war as the Lava Lords, Ant Menaces, and Demonoids battle it out for world domination, and whoever wins, we lose. The surface world is on fire, and the son of the Savage Dragon is in over his head. From Valiant Entertainment, we've got Harbinger Omegas number 3 of 3, Cold War No More. Peter Stanchek, Toya Harada, the 2 most destructive superpowers in the world, literally have come to a dead reckoning, and in the fallout of their cataclysmic conflict will each come to grips with a world in which the other is free and unchecked. Their former families, the Harbinger Foundation and the Renegades, lie in shards around them. What will stop these men, either of them, from reducing the world to ashes? Out in trades, we've got DC Comics 0-year hardcover. 6 years ago, Gotham City weathered its greatest test as the Riddler shut down all power days before a terrifying superstorm. But the Dark Knight isn't the only hero to surface during this moment in time known as the 0 year. Journey back to the 0 year to see the early tales of heroes and heroines such as Nightwing, Green Arrow, Batgirl, Superman, Birds of Prey, Catwoman, and more. Collects Batman number 24 and 25, Detective Comics 25, Batgirl 25, Batwing 25, Batwoman 25, Birds of Prey 25, Catwoman 25, The Flash 25, Green Arrow 25, Green Lantern Corps 25, Nightwing 25, Red Hood and the Outlaws 25, and Action Comics 25. And we've got Miracleman Volume 2, The Red King Syndrome hardcover premiere edition. Michael Moran has rediscovered the power of Miracleman, but unbeknownst to him, Dr. Emil Gargunza, the man behind Project Zarathustra, has set in motion plans decades in the making. In The Red King Syndrome, Gargunza's intentions for Miracleman's wife and unborn child set the stage for a confrontation between creator and creation. The origins of Gargunza and Zarathustra will be revealed, and life and death will be decided deep in the jungles of Paraguay. Collecting Miracleman number 5 through 10. Okay, so that's just a few of my favorite books out this week. There's still plenty of others available, and I broke out all the Marvel titles this week in their own video, as well as a separate video for all of DC, and even a video with the top independent publishers, and you can find them all on my YouTube channel at he'sgotissues.com. And we'll also have links up on the leagueofnerds.com, our Facebook page, so be sure to like us there too. And of course, you can follow everything I'm reading on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, or Twitter. You can find links to everything in the About section at he'sgotissues.com. And a reminder that both He's Got Issues and the League of Nerds are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. So until next week, I'm John Cooney, and I've got issues.